All right, folks, let's get right to it. For Thursday, we had a couple people that came right in. Our early winners were Constantine, you'll win a gold, and Parveen, you'll win a Volume 3, and Melissa Slate will give you a gold membership. That's all starts here at harmonictrader.com. Become a basic member right there. Hit that link, and then all kinds of goodies with the basic members. Get the software as well. Anybody that's in here or watching these videos, listen, I can appreciate that people want to learn, and I think you should learn how to draw it manually. And you can do that by reading the books all here and then watching webinars and then finally getting with cheat sheets and the Discord, which is here, to kick it off. But the reason why I say the software is because I get a lot of questions like, hey, where do you start the measurement of a software, of a pattern? I mean, typically we're looking for extreme highs or lows, but we see that the software really detects the true harmonic levels. There's a lot in there. I could spend an hour talking about that alone, but listen, if you come this far with me and you're in here now and you want to learn harmonic patterns, my brain has basically been programmed to be the software for you. So please check that out. Again, big shout out to the chat. Welcome everybody to a Thursday. We'll give away another book or two and a gold membership so that people can take advantage of the resources and get their, get started. So let's get into it. Let's take a look quickly at our 5-minute time frame. Something I'm looking at right now. Again, how about this midday dot thing? So Markets are up a lot in the pre-market, have rolled over. The early morning yellow dot, I mean, no pattern here, but our yellow dot went bearish in the pre-market, and that's been a good metric to at least gauge how far the market has gone. Where if you come into the market and you've got a couple of bearish HSI signals, I mean, you got to respect it. But right now on the real time trade, the regular trading hours, we do have a dot. We had a dot. We had a dot on the 5-minute SPY. There it goes. So I'm looking at this right now as, maybe this is our potential midday, mid-hour dot. We're still well underneath there. Like I said, no pattern, at least on the 5-minute. Anything on the 30-second. Again, if I'm looking for day trades, I'd love to see a little minimum pattern on a 30-second chart with a 5-minute signal, and I don't have much. I mean, this could look. We need to get into the longer term here on the SPYs and the Qs, but let's keep an eye on this for a little midday dot action. What you're really hoping for is this thing stabilizes here and goes to new highs for the day. But let's take a look. There you go. Are we about to get a 3-bar breakout here? Above 403.25 with 1 minute left in this bar. Let's see. Again, this is a real critical point for the day. It's our first dot on the bullish side. And I do want to kind of clarify, what data feed do we use? Do we look for real-time trading hours or extended trading hours? I look at both. And this is for the futures, the QQQ and the SPY. I prefer to see it you're going to see more on the extended hours, of course. But do check both. I don't really, again, I'm going to just watch this right now. We don't have a 3-bar breakout. We don't have anything that really sets this off just yet. And I think the QQQ may be a little better of an opportunity. It's just kind of been slow. A pop on the open, no follow through. But I mean, up strong in the pre-market. Let's go extended hours here. Nothing. Regular trading session. Not much. I mean, it's a tough place to long after being up as much as we are. Up over 1% and change. The big news that we want to talk about with the Qs. We're here. We've checked back, and we've talked about why. Last week we talked about why this would be a few more days. Here's your days. Here it is. We're a Thursday of the following week, and we finally got the check back, retest, secondary test, whatever, 315.75. That's a big number. That is a big number here. We would still want to see 2 more days, 2 more bearish days beyond this for some kind of turnaround. And I do want to show this on the 4-hour. This is another interesting development here. The 4-hour time frame. This is the e-signal platform, but this is my real-time futures that I use. So we're sitting just, if you want to know what's been happening for the last week, it's been all about this deep crab zone, essentially 12,945, 12,900. That's the real number. And we are overbought, but look at what's happening on the 4-hour. You're expanding, you're staying up in that zone, so this is still early. That's even though we said last week, we're saying look for this week, the 4-hour says it's still early, and hey, possibility of a hop test at 13,200, not crazy. So that's what we want to really size up here. You've got 4-hour time frames, you got daily time frames, you got weekly, all coming together. So critical, especially with the QQQ, the bar close here. If we get a doji or if we get a bearish close, all of that's important. really critical to understand that the singular bar at a the clearest of measurements is what defines the possibility for some kind of reaction at that level. I mean, we get a bearish candle today after the gap up, that would be important. We still want 2 more days after this to get a dot on the daily. It really is where we are in the Qs is kind of like, let me go to the last bearish one, that really fine dot uh, linking up with a check back. It's yeah, it's kind of like this, really, this last dot here, and I'll explain why, where we have a dot, sorry, we have an HSI arrow, and then it checks back. So 1 and then 2 candles. So that's how we know we need a little bit more time. Need a little more time on all of this, but we're very close to that ideal 2 of 2 situation I've been talking about for a while. I think we got this part clearly. We got the corrective, reactive part from February nailed down. I think even though this looked a little sketchy down here at under 290, 289, that had reaction all over it. So now we're at the retest, we're at the secondary test. Because look, there's the sun icon. That tells you where the pattern first completed, and we went to target 1. Basically 312 to 291, back to 312. Now tell me where the confirmation comes in, and that's around 315.75. It's the retest of that peak. Let me blow this up so you can really see it. It's like this. The high of that candle, 315.25. So be aware that just hit. Real sluggish day today. Really sluggish day today. And I'm not doing anything on our midday dot just yet. I don't have anything on the extended hours and real-time hours. There's no pattern here, and the action has been quite lackluster at the moment. Let's really just keep an eye on it. I think this is going to roll over, personally. You've got NASDAQ currently. S&P's up 14 or 15. NASDAQ's up 97. The Dow's up 32. Those were doing a lot better about an hour ago. A lot better. And you're hitting daily numbers. This is why sometimes the daily numbers or the weekly numbers can come out of seemingly nowhere and crunch your intraday action. That's what we're looking at right now. Let me clean it up. So the QQQ chart, and I mean specifically the Qs over the futures, is still as critical as the SPY chart on the daily. If we want to understand what the macro situation is doing, if it's for stocks in general or crypto, or trying to really determine if this is going to crash, like a lot of people still saying some kind of crash is coming, recession, whatever, maybe later in the year, it would have to be off these patterns. The SPY right now is back up. I think it's still coming back up to retest the zone again. And we know that because the last HSI was bullish down here. We'd want to get another bearish trigger. Maybe again, you hit the terminal bar. I thought that was interesting yesterday, where the high was 404.35. And take a look. These little singular bar events do matter. Another reason why you want the software, because the software has standardized algorithms with all kinds of constraints built in, where when you hit numbers like this and they react, it's because it's the real harmonic level. And so your terminal bar off the shark on the SPY, going back to November, that completed right there and has capped the rally, was retested again, and that was the high at 404.35. when the terminal bar is 404.27 and now you're 402.75, that matters. That matters. So it really the only way you're going to find these levels is by lining up opportunities like this, understanding how the confirmation comes in for a harmonic pattern, because even the retest from about, what was that, a month ago, 6 weeks ago? All right, beautiful retest right there. I mean, we had an initial reaction, but the confirmation didn't happen until all the way at 413. Minimum level was 404.27, but the confirmation, yeah, 414. That's why we could see one more dot maybe up here. But for right now, today, reacting off of that 404.27 level, critical. Could see some real pressure. And this also has a lot to do with the fact that you go to the monthly, just so people know, like, when is this thing going to break out? Is it going to break out? And you got other people saying there's going to be a secondary leg that's like that. I mean, you've got a probably almost 50-50 people saying, "Oh, we're this is the bottom. We're going to break out." Other people are saying, "No, we're failing. We're breaking down, and once we do, you get the second leg." I mean, obviously, yeah. But what are the signals? What are the patterns that are down here? Some rather significant bullish readings on monthly. I don't think, though, and I've said this for a long time, months. I don't think this breakout, okay, that will eventually get triggered, whether it's here or whether it does collapse and then go, is going to lead to some kind of massive explosion. I think it's going to take months, and you're going to bang against this resistance at, call it as high as 4,100, generally around, around 400 on the SPY, plus minus 10, 15 points. But you're going to wrestle that area for a while. So someone asked last time, what does that mean for the macro? It means that just whatever you're doing, you're going to aggressively manage all day trade positions, even swing positions. You get to a target, you take it. You don't expect it to break out. It's just that's where we are. Crypto's same deal, although crypto's probably ramping better. So I think that's technically just trying to look at the charts as a source of supply demand assessment. It's pretty clear. A lot of sellers still at just above 4,000 on the SPY. Are we going to get something that takes it all the way back down? I mean, we could be squeezed for, like I said, another month or two. The big thing is going to come. We want to get out of this month. We want to get out of this quarter. That is tomorrow, which is great because we end the week, we end the month, we end the quarter. We start fresh into April, and then we really start to say, okay, the only thing we need to consider is the 3-month range going forward, where you break out. And this is an important assessment. You break out of the March high, excuse me, it was a January high there. Okay, that lights up the continuation. And the range, the low for the 2023 low, it's like that. Maybe it's back here in January. You could go to the first day of January, really. But that's the range. And that's how small this whole consolidation range has now narrowed. So 376 for SPY on the downside, 416, 17 on the top side, and everything else is meaningless. To the right of that, it's kind of like where Bitcoin is, quite frankly, although Bitcoin's at a slightly different relative location. That's your assessment. And once we start next week, it's that easy. Maybe not easy, but it's that, I think that defined is a better word, simple, concrete. because the continuation of either move is going to be, if you want to really pile in, pile in on the breakout. If you're really bearish and you think this is going to go to hell, um, you wait for the breakdown. You wait for the breakdown, or you wait for some bearish signals to materialize, and we don't have them yet. So let's just focus on that. We have some early signals that are popping now, but we're like I said, we're early. Here's a big deep crab pattern, like I said, on the NASDAQ futures 4-hour chart. It's been pretty much on fire. You go back just the last week. This past week, that is, go Monday to now. That's a beautiful straight up chart into a retest. I still say that kind of action without confirmation could take you as high as 13,200. But I'm looking at the 4-hour chart. It's broken down now to that close, where amplified, if that comes down and HSI comes down, that's the move probably into next week. Or maybe we can trigger it tomorrow, and then we start looking at that for April. So absolutely, you're there. This is probably the most important quarterly close we have seen since the COVID low. Definitely. Big shout out. What's up? Brad Fisher is in the house. What's going on, Brad? How are you? Thanks for showing up today. Great to see you. Mr. Lodak, Swooping Hawk. Look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Robert. Hey, Robert Gecko's in here, and I think you got set up. Did you get set up recently with the software? Everything's good on that? Great to see. What's going on, the rest of the people in the chat? What do you guys want to look at today? Because I'm about to jump over to crypto. I do want to highlight a couple other things before I go there. Some big stuff. Nothing really small here yet, although I'm waiting on this 5-minute, looking at this 5-minute check back on SPY. This is the other big individual stock I'm looking at, which is Microsoft on the daily. Now, what's going on here is about as perfect as you want to see. It's a type 2 Gartley. Let me clear this. Where'd all that go? Clean up those lines. There it is. So type 2 Gartley. And then 3 days ago, we got the second bearish candle, which says yellow dot. And we're even retesting that yellow dot. Well, let's take a look how that yellow dot works with patterns. And that's really what we prefer to see, where if your yellow dot has a pattern with it, so that's a much better situation. I would be looking for, you have everything but an individual 3-bar reversal. So if there's going to be some kind of major turnaround in Microsoft, it's going to fail a 3-bar range. Plenty of time. That does not happen until under 272. And this one could rally as high as the hop. It's kind of like the NASDAQ futures. We're real close. You're real close on this, but you're still going to float up higher. And then we know the big deal, which I think is helping. This is helping Microsoft when we go to the weekly time frame. And we've had strong action out of the zone on our weekly, right at, beautiful bat pattern. Okay, go back off the 2020 September low, but it had the right X, A, B, C, D components. Still a type 1, but there's no confirmation. So this, and I've been saying this for a while, we could see that maybe as high as 295 before it comes down. There's nothing here, no amplified, no HSI that confirms it just yet. Keep an eye on that one. It's a big one. That's big. And then here's the other one, which is Meta. Amazing how we were talking about these just 3 months ago. Now that's 207, new highs for the move, but look at the crab pattern, folks. And this is for HPC members, users, customers, traders. Where are we going to go with this? If you were looking at this, just forget the name. What would you say that's all about? Pretty much it's a type 1 off the crab. So, and type 1 needs to go to 242. That's 35 higher. Call it 30, yeah, 35 higher from current levels. And we still, here's how we'll know. The interesting thing is that we did get an HSI bearish, but one red candle, green, green, green. Look, we got a strong close by Friday. There's nothing stopping that to go to 240. And this is up where we would expect it to terminate, or you'd want to look for a dot. So still the bias is higher for there. Bias I use a little loosely. I don't mean bias in terms of like I've got I favor one side or the other. It's just where I expect that to complete. A couple more. We've done a lot. I do before I jump to crypto. You're right, Daniel. What's going on? The banks. So, oh wait, no, that's not the bank I was thinking about. Uh, Sanofi. That's a beautiful shark. Look at that thing. There's a weekly. We've got a lot of amazing weekly patterns. And again, check out your dot. Check out. I mean, that was. I don't know what we do with that. There's no recommendation here. Someone's asking for me. I thought that was going to be Signature Bank or First Republic, but um, that's a beautiful weekly shark. We have some weekly patterns. Let's go to the banks. This is a big one. I've mentioned this for a while, and I'm watching the banks closely. So we got PNC here. It's a it's a crab. It's a couple of things. It is a type 2 crab. The only thing we need to see for the bank is that to pop out. So 125 is the number, maybe as low as 118, but we need a dot. But the banks are, you talk about banks and it's scary as anything, yet it's a type 2. So that's definitely in the area we want to wait for, and just let that pop up a yellow dot, please, for sure. You guys have a few. All right, I'll take a few of yours. Daniel, you've been on the money with a lot of charts recently, so I'll look at your Uber. I like Uber, but I think it's down here a little bit. We need a dot. You've got lots of patterns. Stocks like these are forming patterns. They're just still in consolidation mode. I think Uber's better on the daily. Oh, yeah, it's a butterfly. There were a few things. We were back in this way down at 22 for that first move, but now, yeah, I would think maybe that's the end of the type 1 on Uber. Weekly time frame. Again, you're going to probably trigger this pretty soon. So I'm looking for some kind of retest on Uber. Here's one that it's in the semi space, but this has got patterns all over the place. This is Tower Semi. I know a lot of people thought it was Taiwan Semi, but look, this thing's popping now. After it's type 1 off of that bat pattern, but look for the retest. Maybe as high as 44 and then come back down one more time. But you're back-to-back patterns all over the place. We'll get to the gold in a second, Palm Tree. Justin wants to look at Rivian. Wasn't there something there? Here's Rivian. Nice one, Justin. Beautiful. Look, Rivian, and this is another one from an HPC trader. It's a deep crab. We're probably, let me blow this up, get a better view on it. Did you get a 3-bar breakout yesterday? Let's take a look, because that would always get me interested, and you sure did. So take a look. This is not the prettiest of price actions. It's a nice pattern, but here you go. Look, there's a dot. There's the pattern completion. I would want to see some kind of individual bar turnaround, and that really happened. There's the first bar that it truly happened. Let me really blow it up because this matters, and I'll go back to some of those weekly setups we're looking at. But like Uber, it's a weekly setup. I want to see the first 3 bar breakout. Like that's it. Why? Because 1, 2, 3, that individual day broke above that range. And notice you still had time down here, retest that bar. But once that bar happens, you know you're close. So this one, okay, looking good. It's a type 1 for sure, and it's below the zone, which is typical for crab patterns, this being just a standard crab, regular crab, because your B point set at 618. But hey, why not? Target 1, 2338. You've got the sun icon. You've got a yellow dot right before it. Should get you going up here, 1271. I'll keep an eye on that one. I like that though. You know, maybe one to hit with some options. There's your 5-minute chart. I'll look at Zoom, J-Man. I know several people have been asking me, and this why? Because that's been a 3 ideas for a long time. We've had a couple of thrusts on that. Basically, 68 was our number, but look what it's done. You know, it's been a shark for a while on Zoom. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but look, the hop of that shark 72. You had a 1 shot, 2 shots, no follow through. And the confirmation came in around 69. And you've had a few tests as low as 65. So and that should be the low. Wasn't there a big weekly? Yeah, there is. Look at this. So this is the big weekly for Zoom. And it's tough. It's a lot like crypto where you have these massive weekly patterns, but they just do nothing. They go sideways. Like there's the pattern completion. There's first confirmation at about 100, but you went as low as 65. How do you deal with that? Well, we had a bearish HSI that flashed up and another bearish HSI. Those are warning signals. So let's see if Zoom can pop something on the daily. Can we get another oversold down here? Almost. I mean, that would have been great about 2 weeks ago. It didn't register though. This could be one where you scratch it. If you're in the position, you're probably at a small profit. Maybe scratch it and look to re-enter. Dave's asking, so the yellow dots matter before the icon? It's a great question, Dave. I prefer to see dots after the fact, like this. All right, so here's the first test of that shark, but the yellow dot didn't come in till there, till like 77, 80, and the top zones was 81. So you're not even looking at anything until you get to that point. Take some time. One moment, everybody. Thanks. All right, let's get into it. Looks like, hold on one second. Hold on. All right, so let's look at a couple more and we get over to crypto quickly. I think crypto's critical, just so everyone can reassured that it's not. I mean, I think everyone was so beat up after last year. Let's go to crude oil again. Crude oil. All right, here I can do crude oil in one chart. I can name that tune in one note, one chart. It's this: light sweet crude, monthly Monthly retracement. What is here? Here's the all-time chart. What happened? We hit the 382, $65. And this is a similar proportional deal on other oil markets. And I think it's fascinating. It's something that I theorized about 6 months ago, and there it goes. So what happened was we had that move from negative 40 up to 130. That was the exact 886. And it was quite a while ago, especially when we broke that trend line, that I said, if this is going to be something bigger on the long-term chart, because there were a lot of people talking about $250 oil on this move, wouldn't it make sense to form a pattern on that way, en route? And so let's look at the total history, because that's really what I think, how this is shaping up. Take a look. This is that move from last year went right, exactly to the 886 within pennies. There's your all-time high. The 886 was right there on that bar. And not only that, the way that came off the 886, it was astounding. And the no follow through, the individual bar, these are all monster signs. Like, look, here's your 886 that we were looking at. The 886 was 125.59, call it 126. The exact peak on the month, I think it was even the day, the quarter, the week, 130.50, and it just rolled, did a swan dive, quite frankly. But what I was saying months ago, and I really want to go back and see, what was the first time I was saying that, hey, maybe what this is on a monthly chart is you have to do this 382 pullback. You want to see that do a minimum 382, because then what can happen is you set up here and how do you get to crazy $250 levels? You form a deep crab on the monthly chart. Why not? But you need a B point first. And I was saying that a long time ago, and well, there you are. 65.63 is the 382 from the all-time low, which was negative 40, up to there. Doesn't matter, it was negative. It was a major deal that went negative, but that is how we look at it. And 262 would be the 1618. So this is an outlook of 3 to 5 years, quite frankly, minimum. But if this is a C point, and when you think about that, if this is a big W formation and that's a C point, well, we'll see progress off of that over the next 2 or 3 months. Let's see if that even gets retested. It's such a perfect 382. That's almost as good of a bullish bounce reaction as this 886 was on the bearish side. And this was, when was that? Yeah, that was March. So that was the top in crude oil was right after Putin invaded. And everyone thought World War III, oil goes to 250 right here and now. But look, once that 886 got rejected, we started saying, it's not crazy to think of 382, and you should walk through every chart like that. The patterns can be targets as much as a framework and kind of a structural guide, if you will. A couple of more. Yeah, let's look at gold. Gold futures on long term. We know the deal. There's some patterns up here on gold. The big psychological 2000 levels up here. Okay, where there's your monthly. Weekly has, I think, a crab up here. Yes, it's a deep crab. Now, we've been a few back-to-back patterns that are, I think, pretty remarkable. There's your GC weekly, and I'll just trace it out. The first move, this rally from 2021 up into the 1618, well, right on it. Exactly, 2068. A lot like crude oil. It reversed, on the invasion of Ukraine. That was the short-term intermediate high for gold. Then it came down to the bat and did a perfect, I would say almost perfect. I won't say absolutely perfect, but real close. Type 1, type 2. And you're now retesting. Look, there's the confirmation where I'm not surprised to see it around 1980, 2000. Maybe we come up a little bit more, 2068. Let's see. Let's see what happens. I will say this. The longer term chart probably looks better, and I mean weekly. Excuse me, monthly over weekly or quarterly over weekly. Why? Because you're looking for a big candle. And this is the interesting thing about gold futures at the moment. If you get gold futures to print some kind of massive candle, and let me clean that up, this thing will be the breakout. All right, and this is a little bit different from crude oil because there's no B point. This one exceeded it. I think it's in an interesting spot, but plenty of time. So if you want that continuation right now, you'll get a big close above 2100, and then it won't look back, and you'll get a second leg in gold. I think it's building. I do think it's coming after 2 or 3 years of a lot of sideways action. You've got, even on the quarterly chart, gold just doing things. Really, really impressive stuff. And you can't deny the fact that despite all the resistance at 2000, you haven't retraced much, and you're printing big, fat quarterly green candles. So let's say next quarter we get a breakout close above that 2100. That's that you go automatically into a 1618 advance. 2484, 2500 has been a number we have really suggested for a long time. Not to mention, let's say this is going to break out. And with gold, look, don't jump FOMO gold, because gold is always going to pull back $100 and give you some kind of short-term pattern to get in on this. But hey, we poke through there and we get going. Look at that ABCD from 2000, A to B, bang, C to D, puts you as high as 27, 2800. Something's up. Something is up with that, and let's bring some of the proprietary stuff into it. What's that say? Like monthly, are you going to go against an HSI signal? I don't think so. I mean, just look at the last few years, the monthly signals out of the last 5 or 6 signals. Okay, there's to the upside, to the downside. There's one signal that failed. That was a bearish, bullish, bullish. What I'm saying is that our last signal was bullish. We certainly didn't fail that. You're still bullish until you form some kind of bearish HSI trigger. Not even close yet. Gold's been interesting because we did think for a while that 1920, here we go, on gold futures. We probably haven't talked enough about it, but maybe we should. There's a few patterns. There's the type 2 off the bat pattern was 1966. And we did get a 5-0 by definition, which is an unusual pattern, but it's there, and it's a continuation 5-0, meaning it's at an point where within the trend, we stabilized, we hit the 50%, we're rallying above that. So let's see. I mean, again, this 2000 level, I'm not really so enthralled by the fact that it's a 2000. Talk to me when it's above 2100 or even this hop level at 2180. Then you'll see real action in gold like you haven't seen in a long time. Keep an eye on that. Peter Schiff is happy about this. Peter Schiff is no friend of the market, quite frankly. He's kind of one of these grifter, 20th century grifter types. You know, swish around a few billion here and there, make your numbers. Uh, you know, I just there are some big name people, folks, that are not really have our best interests in sight. Just that, billionaire, multi-billionaire people. Got to recognize that. But the patterns, again, is how we're going to navigate through whatever's to come. I definitely think there's been a lot of craziness, and your current conditions, especially for stocks, quite choppy. But this is going to change. This is going to change. It's going to change like crypto changed. So let's jump over there and do our quick top five. We'll look at total index as well. But here's Bitcoin up here producing some dots. So we got a dot a couple days ago for Bitcoin on our daily shark. We know it's a type 2. And look at what happened. I mean, we formed the dot, and we trace this out. Here's Bitcoin. Down for the 1 to 20. Target 1, back up for 2. Now you have a yellow dot. Isn't that a perfect type 2? I think so. That's a perfect bearish, I got to say that, bearish type 2. I expect this thing to go sideways to down for a little while. No problem. I'm glad to see it at 28,000, and I still think we will get to 38,000. 37.2 is the number exactly at some point, 3 to 6 months, definitely this year. But in the meantime, we're going to have to negotiate this probably inside of that zone. You get some kind of pullback off of the dot. A lot, I said this last time, and it really seems to be coming true. A lot like that dot we had back in February, sideways grind to down, and we're going to just look at 30 bars. Look, this is where we officially retested the zone, and today is bar number 14. So you're already there, 13. You're halfway through. When we get to mid-April, let's talk. Because I said this Tuesday, once you get to the right of mid-April, whether you're here at 28 or there at 24, you're starting to really wear out. The bearish resistance is just simply wearing itself out. So I'm warming up the Bitcoin. I haven't made any moves in Bitcoin this whole time. I've been still about the altcoins. But once we resolve this immediate situation, it's a 2 of 2. Let's pull back. What I would love is a bullish signal down in the zone that will tell me this is just a reaction, and that's it. So let's check that out. Hey, let's give away a gold membership. First person to type in gold will win a gold membership. That gets you software. That gets you the market report, the 3 ideas, the gold circle. Let me know. All right. I'll give away one more book and one more gold membership before we get out of here. Jay Covey, you win gold. Way to be. Jump on in. The next gold I'll give away. Hey, Parveen, you won a book, and I'm going to ask everybody that's already won something in the last month or two, please let other people win. All right, and you can get just about everything as a basic member. But this is a big spot, and it's also interesting how Bitcoin is flashing big daily signals at the same time the QQQ or Microsoft are already checking back today. So that's not a coincidence. When you see your major markets all forming things at the same time, pay attention. Here's Ethereum. Every time it pops above 1800, it's trying to sell it. Look, we've had a few different patterns here, and I hate to say, depending on your data feed, it's this bat pattern, and I go off the Coinbase feed. There's the type 1, came to the hop, type 2. We did say all along 1762 would likely have to be retested. And the confirmation on all this is a touch higher, around 1785. So expect that thing to get rejected from 1800 for a little while. And let's give it 30 days. Let's give it 30 days in the same way. Like, let's say, think of it this way. Let's say you were in here in January or February and you saw Ethereum moving. And it's at 1600. And despite the pattern, despite the yellow dot, you're going to say, screw it, I don't want to miss this out. I don't want to miss the move to 2000. Well, we are in a similar spot now, and just do the window. Like, your 30-bar window was there, and even in that 30-bar window, look, you went from 1650 under 1500 a touch. And the same deal is here. So I'm looking for a bit of a touch of a pullback here. All right, but is it a pullback that gives you an opportunity? I think so. But it's not here. And again, I've been saying this for a while. I'd rather buy the resolution of that retest after it happens than trying to chase it, even down here. Even down here off of type 1. If I was going to target 1400 for that 1762 move, I'd be out. This segment is over. And we'll join a new accelerated segment basically in 2 weeks, 3 weeks above these levels. Above those levels. We'll get to, let's do a couple more. Number 3, Binance Coin. It really should be XRP because that's flashing big. But I think Binance Coin's got some things we want to pay attention to. I posted this a couple days ago. It's just a little bit of a little bat pattern right off the high. Came up, nice long consolidation, 307. That's a big number. 307. And I'm saying this, I will say this repeatedly, is the big event for Binance Coin will be above 350 or above even 400 because of the weekly time frame. There's the obvious resistance, and the target one for the crab is 390. So you're just kind of between 330 and 300. That won't stop. But I do think this will break out, and just so I'm on the record with Binance Coin, we get past this, it's you are setting up where, look, that printed a B point. You got a C point. There's a higher low. Make another higher low. Get a couple higher highs. And then once you get above that B point, 402, 403, the only thing left is an 886 full-on retest retracement. That gets you to 630, 635 with BNB. But we could screw around here for, we could spend 2-3 months zigzagging this as it's done for 8 months. But we have precedent, and the precedent is XRP. So let me jump over there because XRP is showing us what is possible with this. Finally busted out of that 37-35 cent range that, all those patterns and zones, even I think the weekly is probably the best one. And look at that. That's beauty. That's a beauty. This bat pattern reminds me of Bitcoin bat pattern from 2018. And once you cleared out, and once you got above the BC level, because you're still in the zone here, your XA level is 37.4, the BC level is 63.8, so this is still technically potential reversal zone material. And all along, I've been saying, no matter what you're doing with XRP, what you want to go for is the target one move, 92.8 cents. And that doesn't change. Hey, Neil. Neil's asking regarding crypto, if we lose the 25 to 20K mark for BTC, would you say we'd have a really good chance of making new lows, in my opinion? Um, we could see a retest of 25, but I think we've gone through the consolidation. I think I'll circle back to BTC in a second, but I think we've done the work. And again, we can look at XRP as similar. This is weekly. You're a weekly chart, and you want to give it 30 bars, no matter what. If that was a monthly chart, I'd want to give it 30 months. 30 months is kind of the allowable sample size minimum to see if we get some kind of response. I would say that is a response. It's not what you want to see. You want to see target 1 and come back for target 2 to really confirm it. But just the simple fact that in that window, you're holding XA level tightly, those are clues. And so once we do bust, and we know the government's holding it up, so maybe the natural harmonic flow of this chart, if we didn't have Gary Gensler, sitting on this thing, would have already been materialized. I mean, that delayed action you're seeing is the government sitting on it. It's like an artificial resistance, but that'll get resolved. Target 1, and I'm saying this for all of the big patterns that we have on weekly charts, especially target 1 is where we want to be, because we could get a rush of crypto activity over the course of a couple of weeks like we saw in January, and it just starts busting out. We do have a lot of patterns. We have a lot of really nice bullish patterns. Couple more. Let's go. Let me go number 5. So number 5, certainly XRP has been a good one. We've looked at a few of these. I think Cardano, we'll keep that at number 5, because this is the one chart that if we got a 2 of 2 here, you couldn't ask for anything more ideal. So I'll be patient with it. You have this deep crab. It did a target type 1 move reaction right off of XA level, which is 28 cents. That was as low as 24. But this is what we want to see. There's the 1. And come back down for the complete 2. So I still think that is possible. I'm willing to not chase Cardano in favor of some other things to get the 2 of 2. And we'll see how that works out. That can be extremely frustrating if you're new to this or the framework. Be like, well, why don't I just buy it now? Because, hey, if Cardano's going to go to $1, it doesn't matter if it's 37 or 28. It definitely matters. It definitely matters. So just be aware of that. And then some of the ones that we have highlighted, things like XLM, along with XRP, I was favoring XLM. And that one has really, again, shows us what can happen when we hit 2 of 2. Beautiful deep crab. There's a few big patterns down here. Look, there's a couple of crabs. There's a big crab at 13 or 12 cents, smaller one at 8.7. This one was right there at 8.4. It was pretty clear 8.5 was the number. And we're looking for minimum 10.9 on this move off that little pattern. And what you really want to see is this thing to pop off. I'm watching it closely because you have some resistance up here, confirmation, yellow dot stuff, but there's a lot of these. There's a lot of these T-coin setups. Here's that other one I mentioned. This is Gala. I know there's a big community around this. I'm not long this yet, but I'm certainly got my attention now because look, Gala is a shark. Even after the crazy run from 1.7 to 6 cents, nice four banger. But even after that, look, shark pattern, confirmation, beautiful. Target one, perfect. I mean, that is a lot of times as important as the pattern itself when you can do a type 1 reaction. Come back down, give me one more. I think I said this Tuesday, 3.2, but it's an example of these type 2 patterns all over the place. Yeah, Justin anchors the other one. Did a thrust move. Coming on back. It's, and it's another one where we've been on that and we're still on it, where it's about that bat pattern. Came back to 2.9 cents, 2.95 cents, holding. And these are long term. Or the other one was Chili's, which, hey, it's not doing much right now, but you're there at a 2 of 2. We know the retest type 2s take a long time. Where'd it go? Where's my weekly? No, it's a daily chart. Sorry. There you go. It's a big, deep crab. Where'd it go? There it is. Thank you. 11.3 on Chili's. But this is, take it for the kind of ideal example of going from type 1 to type 2 with confirmation. EOS, Justin, that was another one. EOS is another type 2 off of that bat, right at $1. I mean, it's tough to see, and I'm going to have to hide the bearish patterns, and you're back up now with another Gartley. But here, so you can hide it. Let me just highlight the bearish patterns, or the bullish patterns, because that's what you're looking for. And you're looking for 2 of 2. Looks like this. So there you go. EOS, beautiful deep crab. And I have to trace this over so especially new people can understand and see that this is the framework. Your first time a pattern completes, sun icon, then a yellow dot. That's your ideal preferred situation. Sun icon, yellow dot, maybe a little retest of that area, but then go to target one, which it did. And then straight back down to the XA level, minimum. So you're at 174 and you can't get through. You better be thinking, I'm going to go retest all the way back at $1. There's confirmation. There's confirmation. And another bat. And what happened with this bat? It went to 132 and then again back to $1. Now you're 2 of 2. Confirmations at around 102. I would want to see a yellow dot here. It is my hope that I can highlight or at least identify the 1s and the 2s for you. I'm working on it right now. I'm working on a algo set that would basically print a 1 and then a T1, some kind of signal that T1's over, and then the 2. But it's based on definitive algos that I want to include there. One of that is the 3-bar tool that I'm working on right now, the 3-bar reversal signal. I'm not trying to I don't want to throw all these triangles and circles and patterns, whatever. We're trying to really nail it down from dot to dot, but the zones are clear. This zone is clear. No dot yet. But there's a few others. Someone was saying that ETC, Ethereum Classic, is frustrating. It is and it's not. I mean, it's really responding well to the levels. $17 for ETC is your key support. 21 for now. And again, you're sitting here. I would love to see a bullish dot, just like we did at the end of last year. We very well might get a dot soon on a retest. Yeah, like that. But let it retest. Let it retest. Daniel's saying, the patterns are playing out, which is nice, but concentrating on crypto is a bit concerning. In your opinion, you were enjoying more of the stocks. I agree. Listen, I think go to, you kind of circulate, you rotate. I mean, the market's always rotating. And I think it's time to pay attention to crypto after last year because you have so many of these big patterns. It doesn't seem like a lot right now, Daniel, but I, from relative pattern experience, where we are in crypto for the long term, okay, you want to be down here and you want to be fine tuning these smaller patterns. Like here's Ethereum Classic, okay? On the weekly, it's a perfect 2 of 2. What does that mean? Well, there's the completion of the butterfly on the weekly from 20 back up to T1 at 39.45. You come back down, or you retest the $20 level. What's the next move here is to T2. And there's a lot of these patterns that are doing that right now. It's not easy because it's taking a long time on the secondary retest, but that's what's at stake. I think with crypto, a lot of people want it to moon. It's only in the last 3 months that has come into that point, and a lot of weekly patterns being 2 of 2 situations where things can happen going forward. And the longer we go, the better that outlook becomes. Yeah. Keep an eye on that stuff. That's why I think it's worth it now. And we'll look back when we're looking left. Let me circle back on Bitcoin because that's definitely one to study as the historic precedent. When we're looking left on Bitcoin or these others that have big patterns, you're going to go to stuff like this. There you go. Okay, we got a lot of patterns that are like this. Big bat patterns. Like that's, to me, that's XRP. Or XRP may even be like that. Weekly pattern. Confirm, massively confirm, and then explode. I mean, I'm thinking a lot of these 2 of 2s, if the crypto cycle plays out, you're looking at 1618 or even 314 expansions off of those patterns. Now, that's a hell of a statement, but those are minimum considerations. And we know if crypto goes again another cycle, it's not going to surprise anybody. If I'm looking at XRP, and I think this is good for all those T coins and crap coins. All right, there's XRP. If I just showed you, you just saw what I showed you on Bitcoin, then what would that look like? What would a 1618 off of the pattern look like? Forget the minimum targets. I'm saying the pattern's marking the cycle low, even if it takes a year to go sideways. And then we eventually break out, new highs, new cycle. 1618 is at 314. That's a coincidence, but your 1618 is above $3 and your 314, and I'm just throwing numbers up there. Don't get me crazy, but this is what I was doing for the last Bitcoin cycle. And I'm like, all right, what's the maximum upside Bitcoin could do, or any of these coins? Like, what's the 314? 588. 1618 is lower. $3, like there. But that's kind of what you're trying to anticipate. That's why we're looking at that now. I think we've seen a lot of stocks, energy stocks, rotate pretty hard. The banks have rotated hard. Crypto, a lot like the banks getting crushed, but now set up. They're probably 6 months ahead of the banks. One or two more. Um, hey, Scott, do you think we'll end up having a declared recession? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If it does, it goes lower. It doesn't matter. Doesn't recession, doesn't matter. Let's talk segments. Let's talk zones. Let's talk, like I said with the SPY, pretty clear that we're now breaking. You're down to that range for the year with tomorrow's close. Dave's asking about the Scott bot. Yeah, the Scott. Listen, the Scott bot is it's not dead, and a lot of the advancements are Scott bot ideas. Scott bot being the automated trading system. Now, I was really close to releasing something, and I was going to do it on Bitcoin and crypto, and we were getting a lot of failures on the downside. But that led to some dot breakthroughs and some of the other things of like labeling ones and twos are the highest probability levels. So when I think about Scott bot or even automating all the harmonic pattern stuff, it is about structure and indicator levels combined with some price action, and that hasn't been easy because the performance on drawdown moves that destroy kind of the overall trajectory of the bot itself has been challenging. That's why I've held off. I would not release it until it was ready. But I'm bringing more to this, and I think the dot's been helpful for a lot of people to where we'll get there. Appreciate that, though. Thoughts on SHIB? I have no dots. No dots. I have no dots on SHIB. I have no thoughts on SHIB either. I think there's a lot that have bigger patterns, and you want to stay with those. I'm really focused on like that top 5 list. And before I get out of here, also looking at these total indices. Okay, things like crypto total, crypto market cap, the daily time frame, especially is like this. Okay, we know there's patterns down here. It's a lot like Bitcoin. It's a big, deep crab taking its time. This is going to end up, I think, being a long-term base. It has a lot of Wyckoff properties. I mean, starting from here, and if you look at Wyckoff, that's a big Wyckoff accumulation zone. And you're really close. I mean, you could even say you've jumped across the creek, as he says, where it looks like this. That's a really fine chart. And you want that to just build and build and build, where we start to go on an accelerated march very soon, like this. And then we start to get some kind of aggressive follow through going here in the next, I think 3 to 6 months. But from a harmonic perspective, that's beautiful because you've already confirmed the pattern and you're to the right of the downtrend. And this zone is still, it's held, the support is held, and it's still valid. In fact, your last confirmation came in all the way down here, right around 800, 750 billion, and that's holding. So the whole thing's holding. And for a minimum type 1 reaction on total crypto, gets you to 160, 162, 1.62 trillion, that is. I like that chart. I like the relative position of where that is. And who said that? I am game? Yep. Yeah, the total 3 is probably that in the DeFi longer term. Look, same kind of a deal. Crab completed last year. You go sideways, you finally break out of the downtrend. You're still consolidating in the low level. You're looking for the breakout to go to target 1, which is 643 billion. I think DeFi is even better. Yeah, DeFi's, they all have these deep crab patterns, which is, I think, what you want to see, and you're stabilizing. This is definition of long-term stabilization. So once you break above that, what I'm looking for is to shoot the gap to target 1. take it in chunks. But target one is absolutely the way to look at these long-term charts, that this could be till next year. But you'll look left, and this is my thought, where going into later this year and even for next year with the total index, you're going to want to be targeting these levels. You know, when we get down here to 43 billion on DeFi market cap, treat that as the bottom of the barrel for prices. We might go a little bit lower, but relative to where we will be a year from now, we'll say, why didn't we identify that as a type 1 and try to trade the reaction, even though it was garbage action? It took a long time to really stabilize, and I think that's even the recent low from March here was a great sign. I want to see DeFi and others break out soon. That would be above 56 billion, and then you get not a double, but you're talking 50 to 70% across the board, where crypto could really jump later. Yeah, there's a lot of factors. And what I do agree with that, Dave is saying it's a Gary Gensler choke point 2.0 thing. Yeah, look, this is being held down. You see it in those charts. If it's forced liquidation or whatever, at least it stopped making new lows, and you've been stabilizing since that low, going on 4 months now. Get to 6 months, get to 8 months, and hold these lows, and you really then can look forward to next year. Couple more. Palm Tree identifies as bullish. Look, I think you can be bullish. You can look to stack the bags, but wait for the sell-offs. They're going to come to you. Just 2 days ago, we had a nice little sell-off, short-lived. And I think we're back to a point where when crypto sells off 5 or 10% in a day, it's probably a buy signal. Also, someone made a comment on my Twitter feed, and I don't care. I was talking about XRP, and he was saying that's going to lead to, CBDCs of just government digital currency. I don't care. By the time the government rolls out its money, it's my hope that I've made more than enough in crypto that it just doesn't even matter. And that could be a year from now or 2 or 3 years from now. But I don't. There's nothing any of us can do about it. So all of the crypto that we're looking at, these are trades. These are speculations that we're trying to line up. That's it. Hey, Callie. Hey, do we see a DeFi run like last time? Um, I think the type of run, and when you go through all of these big patterns, you have to just assume that the structure is completed. We're trying to go to target ones, all of them, all of them, and just like XRP, trying to go to target ones across the board, and then we'll take it beyond there. I think the Bitcoin chart is really something to study. If you haven't seen this pattern before, or these back-to-back patterns on the weekly chart, take a look. Let me get the right feed, like all-time feed. There you go. Bitcoin has formed 3 major retracement patterns in its cycle, in these cycles. We don't have one currently. We do have something on the daily. But these are really nice. And you can, again, apply this to other altcoins like XRP or Cardano, where you have beautiful patterns. And I'm thinking like this, with something like XRP, where target one is 93 cents, you're probably like right here. And you need to go there to target one. But look at this. It's still a type 1 on Bitcoin back in 2019, and then came back and formed another pattern 2020, back-to-back bats. Here's the other one. All right, this one never gave you a type 2. and I'll show you how to know. But there's the pattern. There's the Gartley, beautiful, from 2014 at $273 a coin, which was probably insane because you probably looked at that and said, oh well, a year and a half ago I could have bought it for $13. Why am I going to buy it for $273? It's not going to go anywhere. This is why we do patterns. Also, look, pattern completed there. Before we really even broke out, it was 100 weeks. 100 weeks until that really broke out. So you have time with all of these patterns. You have consolidation, and we'll probably have a couple of shots before the moon phase takes over. But again, big pattern. I would do this with all of your favorite alt T coins, whatever is. Do I have a pattern? Sure. Is it going to lead to a new cycle? I don't know exactly, but if it starts to or does, where could I expect that off of the pattern? Either a 1618, Bitcoin, it's going to go to 1900. That's a heck of a call at 275. Or what if it went all the way to the 314? Can't even get it on the chart. But that's how I would be thinking. I mean, look, the 314 off of the pattern, again, puts you Bitcoin at 3,500 or 3,600. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. And look what it did. You were targeting 3,400. It went to 16,000. You take it in chunks, but we've got big patterns here in crypto. On the weekly, where if we're not paying attention to them down in here or down in here and it just starts to moon, we're not ready. Or we're too surprised to even believe that that's happening. I think what we're looking at is something like over the next year where you can do a reaction phase. And maybe it's just a target 1, target 2 reaction phase and then have another one, but we've started it. Bitcoin has started its reaction phase, and its target 1 is 37,000. Its target 2 off of the daily crab is 48,000. Beyond that, the bigger possibilities, I'll assess them when we get there. So that's, look, there's 37.2. Here's 49, 358. These are definitive possibilities. Where do I want to get in on Bitcoin? Do I want to buy it at 28 or 29, like right here, or maybe get another bullish trigger? At least you're out of the zone. And that's the way to be thinking about that, even though some of these aren't moving at all. That's how we're lining it up. It's big. What's the 314? 314 is a pi extension. 314 is a harmonic ratio. It's really just the way to think about it. Yeah, I don't know. Evan's saying that the XRP is for doing business that the government hates. Probably. I don't know crypto. I don't know the tech. I don't know what's for what, and I don't care. I want volume. I want community, people talking about it. I want patterns. So, and Bitcoin's, waking up from the dead. Uh, Kali, yeah, Algo is showing a bat pattern, and I'll just show that because we did mention that a long time ago, where Algo is another one of those just sitting on a weekly structure. There's daily bat pattern. Where's the weekly? I think the weekly was a crab too down here. It's all around 20 cents. Let me bring this back up. Oh, you know what? I got to turn the bearish patterns back on. There you go, like that. Bearish patterns back on. But Algo, a lot of them have done the 886s or your big patterns like this. There it is. There's the Algo. Algo is a shark pattern. Big shark. So again, a lot of these patterns, they've taken time. Remember what I was showing you on Bitcoin? It took 100 weeks to break out. 100. Almost 2 years off the pattern completion. It's a similar deal we've got right now. Yeah, Uni is one of our three ideas, Uniswap. But that's another one. So, not a biggie. Um, so, look, folks, we never got anything really on our SPY dot, our midday dot. No, nothing really there. Let me just wrap up here, dial back to SPY QQQ's 5 minute. As I started today, I wasn't really crazy about it. We didn't have a heck of a lot going on. And we're super range bound. I mean, it's stating the obvious. Here you go. Maybe we get another little dot. Oh, we need extended hours. Or no, regular hours. It's on, what's that? Extended hours. Hold on. Real time hours. Okay, we do have a hop level on the 5 minute here around 401. But what was the daily? Why do I have that? Hold on one second. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at two different. I meant to look at the QQQ. Here's the QQQ. No dot. Looks like it's rolling over. I'm not really crazy about this. And the SPY was a 5 minute. I want to see how we wrap up tomorrow. I mean, last week, folks. I haven't done a lot of trading. A few, but I haven't really done a lot because of the conditions. So if you find yourself a little stumped or just a little frustrated, it's because the action has not been that great. You get a couple things like this. I talked about this in the Discord a couple days ago. That led to a bigger move than even I anticipated. But look, just be patient with this market. Let's get out of this quarter, this month. Let's get into next week. Okay, we know it's a really congested time on both, but it's not going to stay like that. And that's really why I'm trying to highlight the crypto. I know a lot of people are very interested in the crypto, but it's seriously in a spot where you can look at this with long-term consequences. So just focus on that. Focus on that. Let's give away one more gold membership with a book. First person to type in gold wins, GOLD. And that'll be the last one for today. You got to get over to Miss Stephanie on the Discord, which looks like this. There's our Discord, and connect with Miss Stephanie. Just type in her name there, and it'll come up once you're on there. So any other questions? There's Miss Stephanie. Contact her. Ovi, you won the gold. Please contact Miss Stephanie, and I'll send you a book with that as well. Okay? Next week, we'll give away more, but we'll come back on Tuesday, same time, 12 noon Eastern. Until then, you have any questions, get on us on Discord. It's been a great community. All right. Have a great one. As always, go get them, folks. We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Peace.